I do want, before I go into the topic today, creating animation and producing videos for exhibits and with audio narration, that's session 2. I want to come down here on the course website, and as I said, I'm going to be using this Q&A section to answer your questions in more detail than we can within the few minutes we usually have at the end of the recorded session. So over here, one question that came up last week was, how do you detect if a video has been altered? And so I have a click here in our Q&A section that came up, a couple clicks actually. One was regarding 2016 as to some of its newer features. There aren't really too many new from 2013, but I do have on here a link for you to go to see some of the few new features that are in 2016. Just a caveat that some of the new features in 2016 are only available in the subscription version, the 365 version, not the desktop version, like morphing, for example. So you have to be careful of that. The other question that came up was how to detect if a video has been edited. And I put a couple of links here that will take you out to some forensic expert sites that go into the detail of that, the physics of fake videos and so on. I'm not going to go into those now, but after the session, come back to our course website and click on these if that was your question, and this should give you the complete answer about how to detect when a video has been faked. You could see probably last week when we created the video using frames out of a video, extracting those frames, how you could actually get in there and modify it even in PowerPoint, just tweaking it, which you don't want to do, but I'm just telling you that you could see how you could modify a particular couple frames and change the way it looks and appears. And then, after you've done that in PowerPoint, you could export it, which we're going to do today. We're going to export a PowerPoint into a video. So you could bring the video frame by frame into PowerPoint, modify the frames that you nefariously were wanting to change, and then export it back out to a video file. So how does one detect whether that's been done or not? These two links here will get into that for you. Also, another question that came up was what video formats are supported by PowerPoint, and I have this link here that goes into that and shows you a listing of the various types of video formats that PowerPoint 2013 and 2016 do support. So that's the link there. Another question was other frame extraction programs. I showed you GOM Player as a possibility, but also there is a program called VLC. This is a free program too. VLC does export frames out of a video, and this is a link to a website that goes into how it works and so on, and where you can download it and so on. So if you'd want to try it, I prefer GOM Player because it, I think, does a better job of extracting a whole bunch of frames all at once than VLC does. But if you already have VLC, then it's been installed on your computer in the law firm, which oftentimes it is, then that would be a program you could use for the purpose of extracting the individual frames. Okay, so now I'm going to go into session 2, creating animation and producing MP4 and WMV video exhibits with audio narration. So what we're about is this. Once you've created a PowerPoint and you plan to present it to an audience with your narration, would it not be a good idea before you present to practice your narration with the PowerPoint show? But then if you're practicing, why not also record your narration directly into the PowerPoint slides? And then after that's done, why not produce a video using PowerPoint's export feature with your narration included? And that is what this session is all about. So let's go into a PowerPoint that I have actually done this with. I'm going to bring this one up. This is a PowerPoint that my wife and I actually are doing for a presentation to the 1904 World's Fair Society, and we have extracted some images from glass negatives that were stored in the History Society here, put them into an interesting PowerPoint. But we also wanted to make this PowerPoint available to the members of the society so that they could we could put it on a DVD and they could play it. If they don't have a computer, you can export these to a file, and then you can burn them onto a disk, or you can put them on a USB stick and people can play your PowerPoints even though they don't have PowerPoint because you have conveniently exported it to a video file for them. So here is the video. Now I want to show you a couple things. Up here on the screen, you see it says Slideshow, play the narrations, and use the timings, and show media controls. When you have recorded, like I have already, my narration into these slides, and you want to actually export this to a video, or you just want to have it automatically play the PowerPoint if maybe you got hoarse that day and you can't speak, and you've got it already recorded, your voice is recorded into the slides. You could click these two clicks here and then just go ahead and play the slideshow from the beginning, and it will use the timings on the slides and the embedded audio and just play the whole show without you doing anything but sitting there coughing or whatever you have to do because you have a cold. So it's kind of a handy tool for that scenario as well. So I haven't really recorded much audio in this presentation. I just have some slides that I wanted to show you how this works on. So I'm going to, and actually playing a narration while I'm talking on a webinar just doesn't work out too well. So you have to kind of just trust me that I do have some narration built into these. You can see here is the slide, and here's the audio that has been embedded in it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn these off right now and just go through the slideshow from the current slide. So here goes the slideshow and I have the audio. I've got that turned off, and I can just click through it. And with the transitions and all the tools that I've used during the video. So I can just click through it, but I'm not actually recording into these slides my audio. In order to do that, I have to use this option up here, Record Slideshow. So you click that and you say start recording from the beginning or from current slide. So you want to make sure you're at the beginning of your slideshow, and you go up to Record Slides and start from beginning. And as soon as you do this, and I'm going to actually see how this works on a webinar and try to record my voice into these slides while you're listening to me and see if the webinar and the computer system can handle it. I'm not going to do very much of it because it may not. I haven't tried this with a webinar yet, but this is how you would do it. You would click on this record slide option under slideshow, start recording from the beginning, and of course you have to have a microphone either plugged into the desktop computer that you're using, or use the built-in microphone on a laptop. Now I'm going to show you something. I'm going to come out of here just for a moment, come to my camera, and here you see your instructor with a headset on and with a microphone. So I have a Logitech set up, and I like to use an external microphone when I'm recording into a PowerPoint instead of using the built-in microphone in the laptop. And that is usually the microphone is going to be closer to my mouth. It is going to be directional. It's not going to pick up sounds from around the room, maybe from a transformer and a light switch up there that's humming, you know. It's going to be picking up my voice directly. So I would recommend, if you're going to be recording your slideshows, get a cheap set like this. They only go about 25 bucks or so, and use a headset like this, or an external mic. And if you are having more than one person actually record their narration, into the PowerPoint slideshow, you might have multiple microphones plugged into the computer through an adapter. And if anybody has a question about that, I can put these adapters up there so you can see how you can plug various microphones into your computer and then record multiple people narrating. Or you might have a presentation in which people ask questions and you have maybe a handheld mic and you want to have a wireless connection into the laptop so you can pick up their audio also into the PowerPoint while you're discussing it. So all that's possible. But right now we're just going to use this headset that I have on to go ahead and record my voice into these slides. So here I go. I'm going to pick Record Slideshow. Start slide animation timings. You want to do that. Select what you want to record before you begin. You want to have the slide and animation timings. So if you have animations and you have you want the narration you're doing to fit to the slide length that is showing on the screen, you need to have this check marked. If you have narration, you got your narration, you want that recorded into the slide. And if you're going to be using like the laser pointer that's built into PowerPoint, and you're going to be pointing at things with the laser pointer, I'll show you how that works. Or ink, if you were going to draw lines on slides during the PowerPoint, you want to make sure that it records the inking that you're going to be doing with your pen tool. So you want that checked as well. So I'm going to start recording. And right now you can see up here at the top it's recording and the number of seconds. And I really, of course, wouldn't want this commentary going into the slide, but I would say, meet me in St. Louis, Louis. This slideshow is going to show you some new images of the 1904 St. Louis Fair and this from the Historical Society of St. Louis. Now I'm going to stop talking about this slide and just give you a commentary here. What you want to do is make sure that before you click to go to the next slide, you wait for about a second, because otherwise the voice might carry on into the next slide. Loud talking and whistling is not allowed during this presentation. When Louis came home to the flat, he spied a note from Flossie. Meet me at the fair. So off he went. And here is a picture of the entrance to the 1904 World's Fair website. I'm sorry, World's Fair in St. Louis. Here's a magnifying tool I'm going to be using. I'm going to magnify the entrance over here. You can see over here the entrance by the Quaker Oats entrance. You can zoom around a little bit with this magnify tool so you can see more of what you're showing your audience. Hit your escape key. If you want to use the laser pointer, you can pick an arrow option and pick a laser pointer so that it's visible or not visible. So you can come over and choose which pointer you want. Laser pointer, and here's my laser pointer now, and I can point over here at the entrance. People came in, they walked through the fairgrounds, they saw the statue of King Louis over here, they might walk through the model city and so on. So you can see how the laser is showing up there. And now I'm going to go ahead and go back to my pointer options and pick the right kind of arrow so that I can click on and go to the next slide. And so that's basically what I'm doing. I'm commenting on the slides, and you can see up here the timer is recording the number of seconds. When I'm done, I hit the escape key, and it has saved the recording into the slideshow. If I come up here to my first slide and say play narrations and use timings, and now say from the beginning, present the show. So I'm going to click to go on to the next slide. I'm going to click again, keep clicking here, but my narration is built into them. And hopefully you can hear me and the narration as well. So here I am using the magnifying tool. Okay, so that's enough. I wanted to show you the basics of going through and recording this with this particular show. It also, if I come down to the last slides here, if I would have gone through the whole thing and I have a video or animation, it will also put these into the video. So for example, this slide, I'm going to turn these off right now and just go ahead and play it from the current slide. And you can see that I have some animation in this one, on this slide, and all this animation would be recorded into the video, into the slideshows that I can then export to a video. Now here I have some sound effects and another little video I can click on, and then that one will have the sound effects as well. So I'm going to escape out of here and come back to another slideshow I have here to show you. This is the slideshow that you can download from the course website, and it has the narration built into it, and I can just play this, and you could play it on your computer as well from current slide.
I don't know if you can turn it up at all, but it's barely hard to hear.
It was hard to hear that. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how that would work. Let me see what we can do about getting that volume up when I play it here. Thanks, Ellen, for interrupting there. See what we can do. Yeah, get my headset going a little bit more. Speakers. I'll try that. Let me know how this sounds here. We'll try it again here. Is that any better?
Is
that any better?
Only slightly.
Okay. Well, it may not work too well playing that during the webinar, so I'm just going to say that's an example of how you can use it. Now I'm going to just go ahead and turn off the narration and go ahead and show you this slideshow here, so I can go through it and give you the audio myself. So how to create a video with PowerPoint. This is a menu in PowerPoint, which I was showing you before. You want to make sure that you set up the slideshow right, assuming you have a microphone and all that. Then you save the PowerPoint. It will have your narration embedded in each slide. And then you are going to choose Next, File, Export to Movie. So you see the next slide here. So when you do File and you pick the Save option, Export, and then you pick Create a Video. Well, these are the options in PowerPoint. And then you want to make sure you choose to use the recorded timing. So you click on this option here to create the video, because you want to make sure the narration matches the slides themselves. And then you can pick the type of format. MP4 is a default, which is fine. Or you can pick, if you click here, WMV. I'll give you that option as well. And then pick Save. And then it will go through and save the PowerPoint itself to a video file. It takes a while for it to do that, so there will be a little bit of a lapse in your use of the computer. You have to watch for that. So, for example, if I go back here to this one, and I go back up and go through the process. I'm going to go here, File, and then I'm going to go down to the Export option, not Save As, but, and you do have to save the narration, save the PowerPoint with the narrations before you do this, of course. So make sure you do Save As and save the PowerPoint with those narrations built into it. And then you go to your export. And then you go to create a video. Now notice here, you could pick package presentation for a CD. Now what is the difference? Well, the difference is this. For a CD presentation, you need something called a VOB set of files, the video object file. And if you pick this option, then instead of creating a MP4 or WMV file, it will create the setup files for the CD, actually a DVD. And so you package it. And then after you've packaged it, you would simply go to wherever you told it to create the CD. So if I go here, it tells you create a package so that other people can watch it on most computers, on a CD or DVD. You want a package. The package includes linked or embedded items such as video, sound, and fonts, and any other files added to the package. And then you package it for a CD. So it puts the PowerPoint presentation out there on a DVD. But we want to create a video. So we go here, and then we would pick use the recorded timings and narrations. If you don't pick that, if you don't have any narration at all, and you just want to make the slideshow an MP4 or WMV file, then you can tell it to spend however many seconds you want on each of the slides by choosing this option. And that would give you the option of not having to narrate if you don't have really any narration to bother with. Up here, so we do want to pick this option, and you have this pull down menu, don't use, but you want that selected. And then you want to do presentation quality, and then you can pick the format you want depending on where the video is going to go. Largest file size, the best quality, 1920 by 1080. And if you're producing this for like a high definition TV or flat panel, then this would probably be the option you want to choose. Internet quality, a medium size. If you're wanting to upload this, you know, like to YouTube or a private share or something like that, you might want to go that way. Smallest file size, if you plan to put this up on a network, you want to try to send it in if it's a short PowerPoint, you might be able to even attach it on a video, attach it to an email if you choose this option here. But and of course, the larger size you choose, the longer it's going to take to produce that video. So once you've got it all set up here as to what you want to do, then you can go ahead and create the video. If you need extra help burning your slideshow to a video or DVD, you can click here, or uploading to the web. This has got some really good help on it for you as well. So I'm going to go to create a video. And now it actually will ask me where I want to put this video. The best place to produce a video to is the hard drive on which you're working, not to a USB stick, not to an external USB hard drive. The reason for that is the hard drive in your computer spins a lot faster than your USB connection allows you to export the video. So I would definitely want to put it on my hard drive and then later copy it to the USB stick or external hard drive so that the production process doesn't take as long. So do remember that. And then over here is where you save as type. You can change it to a WMV file. Now, let me talk a little bit about the advantages and disadvantages of both of these two file formats. The WMV file is going to be smaller in size. It's a much more compressed kind of video with less quality. But it is a good file format to use if you're going to want to put this video online, or if you want to share it on your network. It's a little bit smaller, well, not a little bit, it can be a lot smaller depending on how much you've got in the PowerPoint slideshow, and it works a lot smoother with older PowerPoint slideshows. You want to put a slideshow, a PowerPoint video that you've produced into a different slideshow. You can put this slideshow as a video into a PowerPoint. And if you're going to do that on older PowerPoint programs, like the ones 2010 or before, 27, then you'd want to save the PowerPoint slideshow as a WMV. But normally, what I like to pick is the better quality, the MP4 file format. So I'm going to go ahead and say save this, but here's where you name it. So you don't want to name it something you already have. So I'm going to come in here and put in 15-minute test period. You don't want to change the last name of the file, and you don't want a space between the period and that last name of the file, nor do you want a space between the last letter of the name of your file and that period that separates the first name of the file from the file extension. The other thing about it is oftentimes it's a good idea not to put spaces in the name of the file. If you are using this file in different operating systems, spaces in file names can be a problem. So I like to avoid spaces in my file names. If you find that a little bit difficult, because it's neat to be able to see the separation of words, what you can do is this: create a capital letter for each of the unique words in the file name. Also, keep your file names short and sweet. Some people go overboard in naming their files. This can cause a problem with file paths and so on that I really don't want to get into right now, but keeping your file name short and sweet is a really sweet idea, an efficient idea as well. So anyway, once you've got your file name, you know where you're saving it. I'm putting it up on my desktop on this computer into this PowerPoint folder, and I'll pick Save. Now what PowerPoint will start doing down here at the bottom of my screen, creating video, 15-minute test MP4. And this, it may be difficult to see, is like a timeline. And so as it does create the video, this timeline will grow across here and finally hit the end, and it will tell you it's done. And you can open that video and play it. But this can take quite a while, so I'm not going to go through this right now. Just cancel that and show you that I actually have created this video file. I'm going to kind of minimize that for a moment, minimize this one. And I'm going to go into File Explorer and go to my desktop here, as I did produce this video earlier. So I'm going to get in here and go to the PowerPoints. And another thing about where you place your files on your system, if you have a server and you think, well, I'll just export that up to the file server, that is not a good idea either, because your link to the file server is going to be a lot slower than your system on your computer. So here's the video. I'm going to bring that up and go ahead and play that for you here. And so I don't think I put any narration in this, but you can see I got my hands off the mouse pointer and it's going through and playing the video, and I just went through it fairly quickly, not spending too much time on each of the slides in this video, and I didn't put really a lot of narration in it. So, and playing the narration at the same time I'm talking can be a problem. But the other advantage of doing that is you can pause the video like I just did here. And then you can, move forward through the video until you get to a point where, you want to play a portion of the PowerPoint, but now that it's in a video, you can just kind of fast forward or go backwards and so on. So there's one of the videos I produced using PowerPoint. And again, you've got this basic tutorial, how you go about it. This is a slideshow you can download from our file cabinet on the course website that goes through this procedure that I just went through for you. So let me go back to our course website. So that was part of the lesson today. Once you created the PowerPoint and presenting it to an audience, then you can also export it to a video file, MP4 or WMV file production. Now, another thing I wanted to get into a little bit is creating some animations in PowerPoint. So I'm going to come up here and show you this. We're going to get into animated GIFs and how to create those in a future session. I did use some of those in here to show you how you can use the animation feature with them, in conjunction with them. But this is a slideshow that has an animated GIF in it. And so let me present. And so here's an animation where I brought in the text. That's not an animated GIF, but it's a text that I put into the PowerPoint. I'll show you how to do this. And then I also animated into this slide a GIF file. And the GIF file is an animated GIF. It's a file that has a sequence of frames that has a transparent background and is brought into the animation slide here. I'm going to go on to the next slide, and I have another animation. Now the picture that's going to come in is an animated GIF, but I use the animation feature of PowerPoint to bring it into the slide. So here it comes, and it comes into the slide like that. So those are a couple things I wanted to show you. Here's another animated GIF, so I can play this one. You can see it animate. So animated GIF files are useful for illustrations of various types of mechanical parts, if you have those, or just kind of bringing some interesting, compelling pieces to the PowerPoint slides themselves. But let's say how do we animate something. I'm going to go to a blank slide and insert a picture, just a JPEG file, not a GIF. So we'll find something here that might be interesting. Okay. There's some cartoons. Insert that one in there. And one other thing about when you're inserting various pictures into PowerPoint, there are ways, of course, to work with them, to enhance them, to change them in legal ways, and also to bring them more into a configuration with the particular slide. I'll get into that in a future session as we work with images. But right now, I just want to animate this particular graphic. So I position it anywhere on the slide that I'm using here, and then once I've got it there, I go up to animations. Make sure that I actually am clicked on that particular graphic. So I've clicked on it, and then I go up to animations, and then we have all these different animation features. We can fly it in. Pick this one, so it comes in like that. We can make it come in slower and fade in. We can do the split feature. We can use shapes and make it just appear suddenly. And then you have this pull down icon that brings up other options like the random bars, the grow and turn, your wheel option, and your zoom option, bouncing, pulsing, color plus, pulsing. And then down here we have like all kinds of others like the teetering, the spinning. The grow and shrink is pretty effective for certain things. The grow and shrink. And then you can do a darkening. And you can lighten it up during an animation. You can do a, over here are more entrance effects. So here are a list of those. I'll put them over to the side here. These are some that we already have seen, but we can come down and you can see some exciting ones, the pinwheel effect, which might be effective for this one. It's got a spinning. So what you try to do is find an animation for that particular graphic that is appropriate. Using animations that are inappropriate just to be snazzy, you know, doesn't really help your audience get the point you're trying to make. So this one, the pinwheel effect, might be a good one for this particular animation. Now over here on the left, you can see the animation pane. So here's animation, animation pane. Go back to that. So if you want to see, if you have more than one animation on your slide, let me move this over a little bit so you can see it better. If you have more than one animation on your slide, you will maybe want to alter them or mix them up a little bit. So your animation pane shows you the animations, and you can click on the animation to see what it does. Okay, say we like that. Now let's say we want to put another picture on this particular slide. So I'm going to move this one over a little bit. I'm going to go to insert another picture that I can animate. And let's see, we could pick in this coloring book and this particular graphic and put it over here. And then go back to my animation option and come down to pick another effect. If I come down here, you notice we have an arc effect. And we have turn effects. We have a shape effect. I'll pick this one. And that one seems to be appropriate. You've got a round object, and that's pretty interesting. But also notice that now I have another, in the animation frame option over here, I have a second picture. If I want to move this picture up so it comes before the other one, I can move it up ahead of it. And then when I play the slide from the current slide, this one will appear first, and then the other one will come in second. And if I don't like that, then I can just grab this one and drag it back down, play the slide again, animate this one first, and then animate this one second. So that's the long and the short of how you do these animations between the various objects that you want to put into your screen. I do want to show you a couple others. So now I'm going to go to this blank slide and I'm going to insert a picture again, but this time I'll insert one of the GIF files. And I did download quite a few GIF files, so I have them available here for me, and come down and pick one that might be effective for a particular purpose. Here's an animated magnifying character, and make him a little bit bigger. Move him over here. So to make these pictures, any picture bigger, you click on it, and then you pick one of these corner options, We'll get into some of the alterations you can do to the images in a future session, but right now I'm just focusing in on the animation feature. So let's say we want him to start here, and then we want him to go across the screen as he's looking. Let's see what he looks like without actually any animations, just the animation built into the GIF itself. So this is the animation that's built into the GIF. I didn't create this in PowerPoint. I just imported this already animated picture. So that's what he does. Now, in addition to the built-in animation in the GIF file, and I'll get into how you create these GIFs in a future session, but in addition to that, I want to move this animated character across the screen. So I click on him, go up to Animations, come to the pull-down menu, and then come all the way down to Lines, Motion Paths. It's what these are called, a motion path. I click on it, and by default, the motion path moves him downward. But I don't really want, and you can see the motion path here, this little dotted line. I really don't want him to move down. I want him to move over here. So I come up to this option, Effect Options. I pick that, and I want him to go from the left to the right. So I click here, and that changes the motion path. And if I want him to move over farther, I can click on the motion path and grab a hold of it and drag him over, and even actually drag him off the screen all the way, like so. And now I say I want this motion to last more than just 2 seconds. Notice up here we have duration, and I want him to take his time doing this inspection that he's doing. So I'm going to increase that to maybe about 10 seconds. You can delay when it starts by a little bit if you want to. I'm not going to in this case. And then you can go back and play the slideshow from current slide. And here he is looking, trying to find something. And maybe I did this 10 seconds too long. Let's see what's going wrong here. Okay, come back to my picture. Get my animation pane back up so I can see it. Let's play it. There he goes. Okay, I have it on click instead of, that's good that I made that mistake. If I wanted to play with whatever previous animations were played, I would pick this option. I don't. I really want to click, but I was waiting for it to move instead. That was my mistake. So I go from current slide, and now when I want it to start, I click on the slide, and then he starts moving. And he should move off the screen. There he goes. Didn't quite get him off far enough, but you get the idea. There he goes. Okay, so that's how you can move him around. And then again, if you want to add other animations into the other images, go out and pick another animated GIF. And we'll pick something, what he's looking for. What would he be looking for here? Maybe a clue of some kind. See if I've got a clue. Yeah, here it is. A little cockroach. Put him in there. Put him over here. And so now we want to add some animation to him. And let's say we want him to, let's say wheel in. Will that be good? No, I don't think that's a good one. Let's go ahead and zoom him in. That's good. Okay, so we have him zooming in there, and it's on click. So we'll wait till he gets over close to the bug, and then we'll animate the bug a little bit. So we'll go back in slideshow from current slide. Click on the slide to get him moving. When he gets over there, click and get the bug to show up on the screen. So That's a couple things you can do with your animations, putting two of them together like this. So these are pretty effective. Now, if you're wanting to use some animated GIFs, let me go out on the internet a second and show you a little trick here. Animated GIFs. Now, when you search for animated GIFs to use in your shows, some of them are going to be copyrighted. You have to watch out for that. Some of them are not. So you can kind of, use your legal judgment on this. But here's a guy with a parachute. Now, notice up here in my searching that I did, when I started searching for these animated GIFs, I typed in this: animated GIFs, transparent backgrounds, litigation. So what does this mean? Well, a GIF can have a solid background or a transparent one. If you're going to overlay an animated GIF on top of a picture, you definitely want it to have no background. And that's what I was searching for, so I could put these on solid backgrounds or in front of other pictures, which I'll show you in a moment when we go back into that slide. But animated GIFs, transparent backgrounds, litigation. If you want, instead of litigation, you want cats, and then go ahead and you get all kinds of animated cat GIFs. Now, to get these into your PowerPoint, you can come down to them and you can right button click on them and copy the image, and then you can go back into your PowerPoint and click on a blank spot and paste it into your animation, into your PowerPoint. Then when you play your slideshow, you'll see that this one did not have a transparent background. But you saw what happened because it didn't have. It said my search said that it did, but it didn't. So the solid background caused me a problem. So I'm going to go back to find one that does. And sometimes when you copy and paste, to be honest with you, the transparent backgrounds don't work. You can tell if one has a transparent background when you click on them. So this grid is fine. And I'm going to just go ahead and say save that instead of copying it. I think I could have got away with it and just put cat in here and save it to my GIF folder. I'm going to try to just copy this one now that I know it's got a transparent background, that grid indicating that to me, and then go back in here and let's paste this one in and see how this one works out. And we'll put him over here. Yeah, so I can see that he's not covering up what's behind him. You can see that there. Whereas this one, when I move it around, is going to, the background behind the cats is going to cover up whatever is back there. So I'm going to get rid of that one because this one does have my, and I was able to copy and paste it. Sometimes you can't, sometimes you can, depending on how they put it up there. So now when I play the slideshow from the current slide, the magnifying guy can now move behind the cat, and there's no background out around him to cover up any parts of his movement. So he's moving behind the animated GIF, like so. Anyway, there are all kinds of those out there that you might find effective to use in your presentations. The other thing about the animations that I want to tell you about is that you can animate text, which is really good for getting effects when you are trying to emphasize something. So I'm going to go up here to text box and just put a text box on here, increase my font size quite a bit, maybe pick a different font that might show up a little bit better, and pick a different color. I'll take blue, or dark blue, and say my point is, all right, so here's our text, and we can go up to animation and we can fly it in or float it in, and we can use all these other special entrance effects that are down here. Here's a turn entrance, which we'd have to adjust if we'd use that one. a loop-de-loop and a custom path. And this is where now you can draw the path that you want to take place. So you can draw around and create where you want. Double click it when you're done. And now it goes wherever you've drawn with your custom path. So it's a good way to use text to make a point, to draw attention to some aspect of the case or of an object that you have and you want to bring the text over to it. You can use that particular feature of drawing your own animations with an object or text. That works also with graphics, of course, the customized path. So that should take care of that, and we'll come back to our session. And over here in the file cabinet, if we go over here, you can see here's anim art, how you can animate various graphics. You can view this one. Oh, by the way, when you want to view these, if you pick view and there are animations in them, they will not work. You have to download the file and then play it in PowerPoint to get it to work. So for example, this one, if I pick view, is going to come up and show the art, but it's not going to animate it. So if I wanted to actually see what this is all about, I'd have to come here, download that file, and then go ahead and play it in PowerPoint. So here's the example of the animation. And I'm clicking because I said animations start when I click. So I'm just clicking, and each of these has been moved into place by separate animations. And so on. So again, if I would go to the animation pane on this one to show you what this looks like, you can see there are quite a few letters that have been animated. And if I want to see which one is which, I can click that and play it from that point. I want to start here and see what it looks like from there and play it from that point, and so on. If I just wanted to start with one, change my timings, I can right button click on this option and pick all of these. And if I want to remove it, I can click remove and take that particular piece of the animation out. Remove. So that's another one of the PowerPoints. You can bring that in, take a look at how that's been put together. Here's another animation example that you can download. Again, if you view it, it'll show you, the slides, but it doesn't really animate it. So we'll go ahead and open that one up. I already have that one downloaded. So let me go into my File Explorer here and open that one up for you. And there are a number of other ones here too. Bouncing ball animations. There's animations in which I put an object in front of and then behind one thing after another. So you could go in there and take a look at that. And go in here and here's this one here. Bring this one up. And we'll play this one. So this one I have running automatically. So I told it to play. I don't have to click on the slide. I said play this animation after the last one. You remember that option that I showed you. So the slide keeps animating and it goes through and it has some slide timings on it. So that's the way that one works there. And if we go to animation pane, the animation pane over here, you can see we have this animation starts on click, and then each one of these only goes for a second or so. And then these are with previous. So all these are with the previous animation after I've clicked on one. Okay, so if I go back and I can open another one of these for you. This is another example of, this is animated GIFs, and we'll get into these in a future session, how to effectively use them. And but this also moves the animations around a little bit. So here's an animated GIF that I use that left to right option on. He moves, and he's moving, you can see, behind the letters that we have here. And we got some dancing giraffes. And then here's a whole bunch of just animated GIFs, and we'll get into those in the future. So that's another example. These are all downloadable from our website, so you can take a look at those and see how they're put together. These are GIF files, but the PPT files you can download work very well. Okay, so that's the long and the short of it. And again, a lot of downloads for animations flying in from the left with layers, and we'll get into some of these again in the session that's kind of come up here. Animated GIFs with transparent backgrounds. We're going to be getting into that, those GIF files again in session 5.